Hey everyone, I hope you guys are enjoying Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak and whichever platform you're choosing to play it on. And today we're going to be going over some really interesting and exciting news. And that is the fact that a potential brand new Monster Hunter spin-off title is set to drop on consoles possibly later this year. This comes to us specifically as a brand new ratings boards listing has appeared for Monster Hunter Puzzles Feline Isles. Now, if you don't necessarily know much about the entire Meowser / Feline spin-off games that were available back in the day, at the very least on the PSP and on the 3DS, well, pretty much one of the series, I believe it used to be known as Eru the Puzzle. It was a cutesy type of block puzzle type game that originally became available on the PSP back all the way in 2012. So this pretty much goes back quite a long way, and it was one of those match the blocks colors type of games where you have one kitty, one of the cats, one of the palicos, essentially felines, kind of like one versus the other. There were some cutesy references to some of the monsters, some of the engagements, but it wasn't a traditional typical Monster Hunter experience. They did have like a couple of monsters appear, maybe as backgrounds and stuff like that. Some of the blocks would change based on like some of the monsters' moves and stuff like that, but it wasn't necessarily what you typically expect there to be as a typical Monster Hunter experience. And those games, specifically this type, has been lost due to time. Pretty much in the PSP, we had the Vita, didn't really get a follow-up. Switch has been around now for what, 6+ years. Capcom hasn't necessarily felt the need to be able to bring this franchise over or reunite it with maybe a port or a remake or anything like that up until now, where essentially a brand new ratings boards listing has appeared. So I'm going to give, first and foremost, a huge shout out to Destructoid, but also Gamatsu. Links in the description below for both of the articles where they give us a little bit more details. It basically mentions that Capcom has quietly issued a brand new trademark for an unannounced Monster Hunter Puzzles Feline Islands. That suggests that the Japan-only PSP release, Eru the Puzzle, may be getting dusted off for a brand new worldwide release. The trademark was filled with multiple international licensors. So what that means is that, UK, Ireland, France, Germany, US, Australia, usually the, typical culprits where you end up seeing ratings boards kind of like tease a game before it ultimately ends up getting fully revealed. We've gone over ratings boards listings for multiple videos in the past for different games, and usually within a 3 to 5 month window we can expect that release to happen. I've talked about already that we're in full-on presentation season. We do expect Capcom to host a showcase early till middle next month, showcasing of course more information on Monster Hunter now, but of course more details on Sunbreak's final bonus update and 4th, 5th, and 6th free title updates dropping on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC Windows. The article continues, as noticed by Gamatsu, and again, link in the description below for both articles. Eru the Puzzle is a cute block puzzle title that launched on the PlayStation Portable PSP all the way back in 2012. The fun handheld title had players battle it out in typical block-busting action, championed by adorable feline friends in the Monster Hunter franchise. The backstory sees the characters and even some of the monsters of the Eru village gathered together for exciting puzzle festivals, which will also conveniently provide plenty of mythical energy to bring prosperity back to the island. Of course, there's a trailer that you should have been already looping in the background as well. And they close out their article mentioning that, not to be clear, this is just hearsay, but the new title, Feline Islands, does sound like a localization of the 2012 release, unless Capcom is planning to build a brand new title from scratch. Given the newfound love for Monster Hunter on a global scale, it would make sense to developer for simply make the mining of the back catalog for timeless titles that will most certainly sell in 2023. Perhaps when afforded just an HD polish, either way will just give you the heads up when the freelance house is officially announced in whatever form eventually presents itself. So the article, both in Destructoid and the Gamatsu, link in the description below, they simply just suggest that this might actually be a direct port of the PSP game for modern consoles. It could potentially be a Nintendo Switch Steam only thing, which is what Capcom has done with Spinoff as of right now, and maybe eventually comes to PlayStation, Xbox, whatever, or it could eventually drop on everything since it is a remaster, HD remaster presumably of an old game. So, they could go ahead and go that route. Sadly, the ratings board does not necessarily name any sort of consoles, but since it is Capcom, we should be able to expect them to do, at the very least, the bare minimum and make the game available, at the very least, on the most popular consoles as well. Now, one of the things that I did see a lot of people kind of suggest and maybe hope they would actually end up doing is bringing Teppen over to consoles. Teppen is only currently available, I believe, on mobile devices, and you can choose to play it on the PC through, of course, a loader, a side loader, or stuff like that. But Teppen coming over to consoles will certainly, carry over some of that excitement, since that game does have its dedicated audience. At the end of the day, it might not be the highest grossing or best mobile game available right now, but it continually does get content. I recently went over a video where they were showcasing a couple of new cards, introducing a couple of the new, specifically Sunbreak available monsters, and of course, at the end of the day, more games becoming available on all platforms, making sure that the Monster Hunter series continues and it keeps gaining new followers is the best choice. Now, for me personally, I never played this Monster Hunter Puzzles Felines Isles game. I didn't even know about it up until recently. However, I did know about the Soulsborne's creators making that original Felines spin-off game, which did actually have your felines. It was kind of like Patapon a little bit. It was a little bit of a rhythm game where you had your felines kind of go up against monsters in their very own way. You could trap them. You can, use traps on them. You could use different materials to confuse them, paintball them, whatever the case was. That game was pretty popular on the 3DS back in the day. I believe it might have had 2 official entries, but that series eventually kind of went away, and we haven't necessarily seen it come back in quite a long time. So hopefully, they could go ahead and do something along those lines. If this is the beginning of them trying to bring back those classic series, maybe eventually down the road they could end up doing that for that other 3DS title down the road, especially now that we are seeing developers finally unshackle themselves from touch controls back on the 3DS and finally decided to, at the very least on the Nintendo Switch, make them fully accessible with a brand new UI, so you can go ahead and play some of those games. I'm specifically, of course, talking about Etrian Odyssey Collection 1 through 3, which were originally, DS and 3DS games, finally becoming available on the Nintendo Switch with brand new controls without the touch feature. But that's about all the information that I have for you guys today. Hopefully we get more information on this within the next month. And if you're brand new to my channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Hit the bell to receive notifications when the videos go up. And as always, thank you so much for watching. See ya.